When did your sibling finally admit the thing you knew all along? I swear, there's something about the way my sister says my dad's name that makes my skin crawl, like it's a word she's trying to spit out but can't quite get rid of. She says it softly, too softly, like she's afraid of waking a ghost. That's how it's always been with Erin, silent guilt wrapped in politeness. She's the kind of person who apologizes when someone else bumps into her, and yet she's the same person who can end a conversation with one sentence that leaves you wondering what she really meant. When I pulled into our mom's driveway last month, the air already smelled like old memories, the kind that cling to you like smoke after a bonfire. I hadn't been home in almost 10 years, but mom's health had been getting worse, and Erin called saying it was time. I knew what she meant. Hospice time? Still, walking back into that house felt like stepping into a museum of a life that didn't belong to me anymore. Everything was the same. The faded wallpaper, the crooked family photo in the hallway, even the smell of my dad's cologne trapped in the wood panels of the den. And then there was Erin, standing at the top of the stairs, holding a glass of red wine at noon. She looked at me like I was the ghost. "You look different," she said. "Yeah, it's been a decade," I replied, forcing a smile. She shrugged, took a sip, and said, "Mom's in and out of sleep. She has her good hours. Just don't bring up Dad." That last part hit me like a slap. Don't bring up Dad. Like that's ever worked before. Our father vanished when I was 14. No note, no call. Just gone. Everyone said he walked out. The police agreed. Mom cried, but she never chased after him. And Erin just stared at the wall for days, her face pale and blank, until one night I heard her whispering through the crack of her door. "I didn't mean to," she'd said. At 14, I thought she meant something stupid. Like maybe she told Dad to go away and he listened, but the older I got, the less it made sense. Erin never talked about him again. Not once. Not on his birthdays. Not on the anniversaries. Not even when I tried to ask. It was like she'd sealed that night inside her chest and swallowed the key. Now, 15 years later, we were both back under the same roof. Our mother was dying in the next room, and every tick of the clock felt like it was counting down to something I didn't understand. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the sound of the wind scraping the trees outside, the same sound that used to lull me to sleep as a kid. Around midnight, I got up for water. That's when I heard Mom talking in her sleep. Her voice was low, raspy, like she was whispering through pain. "Erin, don't tell her. She doesn't need to know." I froze in the hallway. My chest tightened, and suddenly I was 14 again, standing in my pajamas outside my parents' room, listening to muffled yelling and the sound of glass breaking. I walked into Mom's room, sat beside her, and took her hand. She stirred, but didn't wake up. Her breathing was shallow, uneven. I stared at her for a long time, wondering what it was she didn't want me to know. The next morning, Erin acted like nothing happened. She made coffee, scrolled on her phone, and avoided eye contact like it was a sport. "Mom talked in her sleep last night," I said casually. "Oh yeah?" she asked, without looking up. "She said your name." That made her stop. Her spoon froze mid-air. "She says a lot of things lately," Erin muttered. "Don't take it seriously." But the way her jaw tightened told me everything I needed to know. I decided not to push it. Not yet, but something inside me had started ticking. A slow, deliberate countdown toward a truth I'd spent half my life trying to find. That night at dinner, Erin poured herself another glass of wine. The clink of the bottle against the glass made my stomach twist. "You remember the night Dad left?" I asked softly. She froze, just for a second, then smiled, too quickly. "Not really. Do you?" "Every second of it," I said. "I remember you were crying. You told me you didn't mean to. What didn't you mean to do?" Her hand trembled slightly as she set the glass down. "You were a kid. You probably dreamed that." "I didn't dream it," I said, my voice sharper now. "I heard you." Erin stood up so fast her chair screeched against the tile. She glared at me like I'd crossed a line she built out of barbed wire. "Let it go, Haley. You think you want the truth, but you don't. Trust me." And then she stormed out. Her words echoed in my head long after she was gone. "You think you want the truth, but you don't." I sat there alone, the house dark, except for the dim kitchen light, my hands gripping the edge of the table. Somewhere in the walls, the clock kept ticking, steady, unforgiving. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Erin didn't just know what happened the night Dad disappeared. She was what happened. And one way or another, I was going to find out how. The next morning felt off. The kind of quiet that doesn't mean peace, it means tension waiting to snap. The coffee tasted bitter, the air was stale, and Erin was pretending to read the newspaper like we were some normal family having a normal morning. "Mom's fever's worse," I said. "Yeah, I noticed," she muttered without looking up. "Doctor says it's time to start preparing." Her tone was so calm, so practiced, like she'd already accepted death as another chore. But I couldn't stop thinking about her words from last night. "You think you want the truth, but you don't." I wanted to scream, "Then why do you look like you're drowning every time I say Dad's name?" Instead, I said, "Do you still have any of Dad's stuff? His things? His watch?" Erin's eyes shot up from the paper, sharp. "Why are you asking that?" "Because," I said slowly, "I think Mom kept something. I heard her say your name in her sleep." Erin's face drained of color. She folded the newspaper in half and stood up. She's confused, Haley. Don't dig into things that should stay buried. Buried. That word hit me like a slap. I just want to understand. Understand what? She snapped. That he wasn't the saint you made him out to be? That he left because he couldn't handle this family? Her voice cracked on family, and she looked away, blinking hard. It was the first time in 15 years I saw her look afraid. I didn't answer. I just walked away, heart pounding, and climbed the creaky attic stairs. The attic was dusty and cold, filled with boxes labeled in Mom's neat handwriting: Christmas, school years, Dad's office. I sat cross-legged on the floor and opened the last one. Inside, old photos, a silver watch, and a crumpled letter that looked like it had been half burned. The smell of smoke still clung to it. I unfolded it gently, the paper fragile and browned at the edges. My dad's handwriting, neat, deliberate. Aaron, I forgive you. I just wish you'd told her the truth before it was too late. Love. Dad. My breath caught in my throat. Before it was too late? Told her the truth? My mind spun. The letter wasn't for Mom. It was for Aaron. And Dad forgave her for something she'd done before he disappeared. That was when I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming up the stairs. I stuffed the letter into my pocket and pretended to be looking through a photo album. Erin appeared at the top of the stairs, her face pale and tight. "What are you doing up here?" she asked. "Just looking at old pictures." She walked toward me, her eyes flicking over the open boxes. "You shouldn't be up here. Mom didn't want us touching this stuff." "She didn't want us touching the truth," I said, standing up. Her jaw clenched. "Haley, you don't understand." "No," I snapped, my voice shaking. "You don't understand what it's like to grow up thinking your father abandoned you, to watch Mom cry every birthday, to think I did something wrong that made him leave, and you—" "Stop." Her voice cracked like a whip. I took a step closer. "What did you do, Erin?" She stared at me, breathing hard. For a second, I thought she might actually tell me. Her lips parted, her eyes filled with tears. But then something changed. Her expression went cold, hard, almost terrifying. "You don't want this," she said quietly. "Once you hear it, you'll wish you didn't." She turned and stormed down the stairs, slamming the attic door so hard it rattled the walls. I just stood there, clutching the letter in my pocket, my heartbeat echoing in my ears. That night, while Erin was passed out on the couch, I went through her purse. I don't know what I was expecting to find, maybe proof, maybe closure, but I found something else entirely. A small, folded envelope with my name on it, my full name, written in my dad's handwriting. It wasn't sealed. Inside was a photo, me, Erin, and Dad fishing at the lake the summer before he disappeared. We were all smiling. Behind it, a note: "Haley, I love you, and none of this is your fault." "Dad?" My stomach turned. "None of this is your fault." That meant it was someone's fault. And suddenly, everything made sense. The silence, the fear, the guilt in Erin's eyes every time she said his name. Something had happened that night, something she'd caused. The next morning, I found her in the kitchen, staring out the window, pale and hungover. "I found the letter," I said quietly. She didn't turn around. "Which one?" "The one from Dad, the one he wrote to you." Her shoulders stiffened. "I know he forgave you," I continued. "But for what?" For a long time she didn't answer. Then, without turning around, she whispered, "For something that can't be undone." And when she finally looked at me, her eyes were full of tears, and a kind of terror I'd never seen before. Whatever she'd done, it hadn't just broken our family. It had ended it. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house felt like a whisper. Every sound reminded me of the letter burning in my pocket. "I forgive you. I just wish you'd told her the truth before it was too late." I kept replaying it in my head over and over until it didn't even sound like words anymore. Just guilt, written on paper. The next morning, I woke to the sound of Mom coughing. The kind of deep, rattling cough that makes you feel helpless. I rushed to her room, and there was Erin sitting by her bedside, holding her hand. For a second, I saw something in Erin's face. Exhaustion, sadness, maybe even peace. But then Mom opened her eyes and whispered, "Tom?" Dad's name. Erin flinched. "It's me, Mom." But Mom smiled faintly and said again, "Tom, please don't go. Not again." That's when Erin lost it. She slammed her hands on the nightstand, knocking over a glass of water. "He's gone, Mom. He's gone. Stop pretending he's coming back." Mom started crying softly, her hand trembling in Erin's. I froze in the doorway, feeling like a kid again, powerless, invisible, terrified. "Erin, stop," I said quietly. She turned to me, eyes red, voice shaking. "You don't get it, Haley. You never did. You spent your whole life believing he was some kind of victim, but he wasn't. He destroyed this family." "Then tell me why," I said, stepping closer. "Tell me what he did." Her jaw clenched, her breathing quickened. And then, like a dam breaking, she shouted, "He was cheating on Mom, okay? He was sleeping with a woman half his age while pretending we were this perfect, happy family." I just stood there, frozen. "He— what?" Erin's voice cracked. "I found out, I saw them together. In his car, I confronted him. But I didn't stop there. I thought I was protecting Mom. I wanted to ruin her, the woman he cheated with, but I ended up ruining him instead. The words came out like vomit. Fast, messy, desperate. I sent the photos to everyone. Her husband, his boss, Mom. I thought he deserved it, but he lost everything. His job, his friends, his name. A week later, they found his car by the lake. My stomach dropped. The lake. Aaron's eyes filled with tears. They said he drove in on accident, but it wasn't an accident. I felt the room spin. My mouth went dry. You're saying? She nodded, sobbing. He killed himself, Haley, and I'm the reason why. Silence. The kind that eats you alive. Mom was crying softly, her frail hands covering her face. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make it untrue, but all I could do was stare at my sister, the girl I grew up with, the girl I defended all my life, and see a stranger. I whispered, "You found him, didn't you?" Erin looked up slowly. Her eyes were swollen, broken. I did. I was the one who found the car. I saw his face. I saw what I'd done. And Mom, she turned toward her, voice trembling. Mom helped me lie. We said he left us. We said he just walked away. I stumbled back, shaking. You lied to me for 15 years? Mom whispered weakly. We had to. The truth would have destroyed you both. I let out a bitter laugh that didn't sound like me. Destroyed us? Mom, it did. It's been destroying us for years. You just didn't have the guts to admit it. Erin stood up, crying, reaching for me. Haley, please. Don't, I said sharply. Don't touch me. I could feel every nerve in my body shaking. I looked at her, really looked at her, her trembling hands, the red around her eyes, the exhaustion carved into her face. She wasn't my big sister anymore. She was a ghost of herself. You killed him, I said quietly. Her lip quivered. I didn't mean to. But you did. You killed him, and then you made me hate him for it. The words hit her like a slap. For a moment, she looked like she might collapse. She whispered, I thought I was protecting us. No, I said coldly. You were protecting yourself. And before she could say anything else, I turned and walked out the door. As I stepped outside, the cold Colorado air hit my lungs like ice. The mountains in the distance looked dark, heavy, like they were holding the secret too. I got into my car, hands shaking, heart pounding, and looked back at the house. The same house where my family had died 15 years ago. I just didn't know it then. Now, I finally understood. My father didn't abandon us. He was driven to his death by the person I trusted most. I don't remember driving, just the blur of headlights, the hum of the tires, and the weight in my chest that made it hard to breathe. The truth was out now, raw, ugly, irreversible. My sister killed my dad. Not with a gun or a knife, but with shame, with the kind of fury that leaves no room for mercy. When I finally pulled over, I was at the lake. The one the cops had combed through 15 years ago. The one I used to dream about, where I'd imagine Dad standing on the shore, deciding whether to come home or not. Only now I knew he'd made his choice long before that night. The moonlight shimmered on the water, cold and endless. I sat there gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, whispering to no one, why didn't you just tell me? The next morning I went back. I had to face her. Both of them. When I walked inside, the house felt different, lighter somehow, but in the worst way, like the truth had sucked all the air out of it. Mom was in her bed, eyes closed, pale and weak. Erin was sitting beside her, eyes red, hair messy, the empty bottle of wine on the floor. You didn't come home last night? She said quietly. Yeah, I replied, my voice flat. Had to get away from the woman who confessed to killing our father? Her lips trembled. I didn't. You did, I snapped. You destroyed him. You destroyed us. And you let me grow up thinking he was the villain. Do you have any idea what that did to me? Erin started crying again, her voice barely a whisper. Every day I know what it did. I've been trying to live with it since I was 17. Live with it? I laughed bitterly. You didn't live with it, Erin. You hid from it. You buried it under lies and now you want sympathy? She stood up, trembling. You think I don't wake up every morning seeing his face? You think I don't hear the water, Haley? I've been living in that lake for 15 years. Her voice cracked on the last word. For a second, I saw a flicker of the sister I once knew, scared, fragile, desperate to be forgiven. Then Mom coughed, interrupting the moment. Her voice was faint, but every word hit like a knife. Stop fighting, both of you, please. I turned toward her. Mom, you covered it up, you knew. Her eyes filled with tears. What was I supposed to do? My husband was gone. My daughter was breaking. The world doesn't forgive a girl for what Erin did. The police would have destroyed her. So you lied to protect her. Mom nodded weakly. I lied to protect you both. No, I said softly. You lied because it was easier than the truth. The room went silent. The only sound was the soft beep of the heart monitor. Erin sat back down, her hands shaking. Mom, please don't. But Mom just looked at us, two broken daughters standing on opposite sides of a lie, and whispered, he forgave you, Erin. I wish I could have. Her breathing slowed. The monitor started beeping faster. Mom, Erin panicked, grabbing her hand. Mom, stay with me. I froze. For all my anger, I wasn't ready to lose her. Not like this, not with everything unresolved. But it was too late. The monitor flatlined. Aaron screamed, collapsing beside the bed, clutching our mother's lifeless hand. I stood there in shock, staring at both of them, the woman who kept the secret and the one who caused it. It was over. But in the most twisted way, that moment felt like release, like the secret had finally died with her. Later that night, I walked into the backyard to breathe. The air was cold, the wind sharp against my skin. I could see Erin through the kitchen window, sitting on the floor, holding one of Mom's scarves, her body shaking. For the first time in my life, I didn't know whether to comfort her or hate her. That's when I saw it. The small wooden box sitting on the porch. One Mom used to keep family photos in. On top of it, in her handwriting, was a note. For my girls, when I'm gone, you'll need this more than me. My heart pounded as I opened it. Inside were two things: Dad's old watch and a folded piece of paper. The paper read, Erin, Haley, I made mistakes too, but don't let my death be the last thing that defines this family. If there's one truth left, it's this. Love doesn't always look like forgiveness, but it's the only thing that lets you move on. I didn't realize I was crying until the tears blurred the words. For the first time, I felt something I hadn't in years. Not anger, not grief, just exhaustion. Maybe Mom was right. Maybe the truth didn't fix things. But it had finally set us free. The house felt haunted that night, not by ghosts, but by memories that refused to rest. I sat alone on the porch, watching the first light of dawn creep across the yard, the box still in my lap. Every creak of the floorboards behind me made my stomach twist, waiting for Erin to come out and speak. When she finally did, she looked hollow. Her eyes were red, her face pale, but her voice was steady. I'm turning myself in. I blinked. What? She met my eyes. For Dad? For Mom? For you? I can't keep pretending I deserve freedom when everything we had was built on a lie. I didn't say anything. My throat was tight, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out the morning birds. Then she stepped closer, holding something in her hand, a small silver key. Mom gave me this a year ago, said it was for Sate when I was ready to tell the truth. It opens her safety deposit box at the bank. What's in it? She took a deep breath. Proof. Letters. Police reports. The night it happened, she kept everything. The statements. The confession. Even a recording. A recording. My blood ran cold. We drove there together, both silent, our reflections in the window barely recognizable. At the bank, the clerk led us to a private room and handed over the box. Erin opened it with shaking hands. Inside was an old tape recorder and an envelope labeled, For my girls. The truth, once and for all. Erin pressed play. The static filled the room. Then our mother's voice, soft, trembling, raw. If you're listening, I'm gone, and I need you to know what really happened that night. My chest tightened as I listened. Your father was leaving. He packed his bags, said he couldn't take the fighting anymore. Erin tried to stop him. He pushed her away. She fell, hit her head on the table. When she woke up, he was gone. I found her at the lake, hours later, soaked and shaking, holding his jacket. She told me he slipped, and she couldn't save him. Erin's hand covered her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. I don't know if he fell or if she pushed him. I never asked. I just couldn't lose both of you. So I told the police he ran away. And I lived with that choice every day. The tape clicked off. The silence that followed was suffocating. Ran whispered. She didn't even know for sure. I swallowed hard, the realization hitting me like a punch. So it might have been an accident? She nodded slowly, whispering, or maybe it wasn't. I honestly don't remember anymore. That was the part that terrified me the most. She wasn't lying. I could see it in her eyes. Whatever happened that night had broken something inside her permanently. I leaned back, the air thick with shock and sorrow. So what do we do now? Erin's hands were trembling as she folded the note back into the box. We go to the police, together. It's time. As we walked out of the bank, a storm rolled in, thunder rumbling in the distance, wind whipping through the trees. It felt like the sky itself was finally ready to break, just like us. We drove to the station in silence. The rain started to fall halfway there, streaking the windshield like tears neither of us could stop. Inside the police station, everything smelled of old coffee and paper. Erin walked up to the front desk, her shoulders trembling but her voice clear. I need to report a crime. It happened 15 years ago. The officer looked up, confused. 15 years? Erin nodded. It's about my father. They took us into a private room, started asking questions, dates, names, details. Erin told them everything, piece by piece, as if peeling off layers of her own guilt. The more she spoke, the more I saw it. The strange peace settling into her expression, like she'd finally stopped running. When it was over, the officer said quietly, We'll reopen the case, but after all this time, it's complicated. Erin smiled faintly. So am I. They let her go home while they reviewed the evidence. As we walked outside, the rain had stopped. The air smelled clean, sharp, new. On the drive back, Erin turned to me and said, You don't have to forgive me. I know, I said, but maybe one day I will. She nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. That's enough for me. When I dropped her off, she hugged me, the kind of hug that feels like both an apology and a goodbye. That night, I sat by the lake again. The water was calm, reflecting the stars. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I just felt release. I whispered into the night, "Dad, I hope you can see us now." And for a moment, just a moment, I could have sworn I heard his voice in the wind, not words, but a feeling. Peace. After 15 years of lies, the truth didn't destroy us. It finally set us free.